good day, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time is in your area. Hello. Hi, I'm Sarah, and welcome back to Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. I've got a shout out. We have to clink. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about a question I got this week. We're doing our crochet along, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And at the bottom of the bag, we begin in single crochet. And one of the questions that I got this week, actually yesterday, and it's one I've gotten in the past, so I thought I would go ahead and address it, is the chain one. When does a chain one count as a stitch? And what's a turning chain? And so we're going to talk about that as well. I've got some new yarns to talk to you about, and of course some new patterns. All right, are y'all ready? What is it I always say? Buckle up, buttercup. We got a lot of fun yarny things to do. All righty, so the first thing we need to do is clink in. And if you don't know what, oh, the lights just flickered. That was interesting. If you don't know what clinking in is, we just clink with whatever we're drinking, whether it's coffee, soda pop, tea, or wine. I don't care what you're drinking. It's just a way to let everybody know we're here. And I'm super glad you're here. And I really just want to say thank you. I've noticed a lot lately on Facebook and on Twitter, as well as Instagram, that a lot of my videos are being shared. And I really, really, really appreciate you all doing that. Because the more it gets shared, the more people can find us and crochet with us. And I think that's exciting. Now, the shout out I have this week, I really want to talk to you a little bit about this as well. The reason that I decided to go out and find some other crochet or yarny YouTube channels is kind of a twofold thing. First of all, I want to find more channels and fun places where you can learn crochet and yarn crafts, as well as get to know other yarn YouTubers. And it's not just yarny ones, but also craft ones that I've been finding. And there's a lot of really amazing people out there and a lot that we can learn. The second reason that I do this is because I also want to support other YouTubers who are doing yarn and craft YouTubes. So it's kind of twofold. I want you to go over there and love their channels and meet them and enjoy what they're teaching. But I also want to encourage you to like their videos and subscribe to their videos, just like this one. Subscribe and like my videos, because the more that happens, the more of theirs get out as well. Because you may not really understand how all of this works, but the reason that we have ads on our videos is because even though it's free content, it's not free to us. We have to, purchase yarns, purchase supplies, cameras, lights, all of those things, and they still cost us a little bit of money. And we don't really make that much off of a lot of the ads. It's just a way to bring in some extra money. And the truth of the matter is, the more money I can bring in off YouTube, the more fun and more giveaways we can have on my channel. And that's true on most of your YouTube and crochet channels. So I wanted to just kind of clarify that a little bit so that you understand why I'm doing this. And this week I found this one. Her name is Carrie Penny. And the name of her YouTube channel is Happy Crafty Homemaker. And it was kind of interesting. I sort of click around to see what's out there, and I just put in weird searches in YouTube just to see what comes up. Things like yarn or crafts or things like that, a tutorial, just to see what people are doing out there. And her video came up, and I just really enjoyed watching quite a bit of her videos. And she's just really nice. And again, that thing that I say is something that draws me in about another YouTuber is if they come across as just being real. because there are a lot, I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but there are, you know, a lot of YouTubers out there that are kind of acting. You know, with me, what you see is what you get. You know, there's no acting. This is just me. And that's what I look for when I find other YouTubers out there that are trying to, you know, share their yarn finds, share their patterns that they've designed or whatever they've made recently, things like that. All right. And so this is, her name is Carrie Penny, Happy Crafty Homemaker. I will post her link on my Facebook page as well as on YouTube underneath the video in that box. It's called a description box. I always just call it the notes. Just click that box and her link will be down there and you can go right over there and check it out. You really like her YouTube channel. All right. So now the thing we're going to talk about is the chain one thing. Okay. And I'm going to click over to my top camera and I've got a couple of examples here. Let me move my coaster that I'm using. I've got a couple of examples here. It's all in single crochet. And at the bottom of our bag, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the bag that we're working on for our crochet along because this is where the question came up. It's all stitched in single crochets and we join. Now, if you're doing a pattern where it's a continuous single crochet, then you don't have to worry about the chain ones. Okay? Now, when you're going in a circle and you join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch, you need to chain one. And this is just called a turning chain. Even though you're not turning here, it's just an extra chain. And if you, when you come back around, if you join into that first chain one, you're going to end up with an extra stitch. All right, so what you need to do is join, or not join, but stitch in that first single crochet to start your next row. All right, so if you're stitching in the round like we did on our bag, we joined with a chain slip stitch, then we chained one, and then we started our single crochet stitches. And it's real important to do that correctly or you end up with an extra stitch every row. And where it was coming across is the lady that I was talking with, she was adding that extra chain or extra stitch because she was stitching in the chain one. And so when it got to be around, each of the rows have 72 stitches and she ended up with 76. And she wanted to go ahead and do part two, which you can go ahead and do that if you want to. It's a really fun pattern and it's easy to want to keep going. But it won't work out because she had 76 stitches instead of 72. And so that's where you have to really be careful when you're going around not to stitch in the chain one. What it does when you do it that way is it just brings your stitch up on top. Now, a lot of times when you're stitching in a single crochet around, you'll do the continuous round. And that's where you don't join. You just go ahead and start in the next stitch and just keep going. And you use that a lot for different projects. And so what I'm saying about going around, when you're stitching around, do whatever your pattern says and then check your stitch count. It's very important. All right, so I don't know why I have both my hooks out here. It doesn't matter because we're just doing a demo. All right, so here I've got some rows of just single crochet rows, okay? And so when you get to the end of a single crochet row and your pattern says chain one and turn, if your chain one counts as your first stitch, you would start in your second stitch. Very rarely does that ever happen with a chain one. Most of the time, your chain one is called a turning chain, and that's because you're turning your work. And it just makes your work lay better. And then you'll begin right in your first stitch, stitching your next stitch. And that's also how you keep your rows nice and even on the sides, is do not stitch in the chain one unless your pattern tells you to. All right? Because if you stitch in that chain one and you're only supposed to have 8 stitches, you'll end up with 9 stitches. And so that can be really confusing. So I wanted to cover that real quick. and talk to you about that because it can be very confusing. And I always tell people, do what the pattern tells you to do. And if you're not sure, check the stitch count. Because sometimes pattern designers, sometimes we just assume you know that, and we shouldn't, but we do sometimes. Okay? And I think sometimes when I'm teaching, I try to say that on my videos and I try to put that in there. And a lot of times when you're looking at a written pattern, there'll be a little section that says notes. And under those notes, it'll say chain 1 does not count as a stitch, or chain 5 counts as a double crochet chain 2. It'll give you all that information under those notes. And make sure, if you're following a written pattern, read through those, descriptions, the yarn used and what you can substitute, or all your stitches and special stitches and your notes. All those things are very important. And I try to teach those as I go on my videos. But like I said, when we're doing our crochet along, it's all, the bottom rows are all stitched in single crochet. And if you stitch in that chain 1, you're going to get an extra stitch every row. So make sure you don't do that, okay? And that's part of what I wanted to cover also is we started our crochet along. Let me grab my bag. I put a thing inside so that it would stay up nice and tall so you can see. And this, of course, is the bag that we're working on. We began with the bottom section. On Saturday, I put out a video that's just an introduction and your supplies list. Monday, we did step 1. On Wednesday, we're going to do step 2, and that is this center section. It's 3 rows of granny stitches and 3 rows of double crochet, and then we repeat it. And again, you can make that as tall as you would like. And then on Friday, we're going to finish up the end rows, or the top rows, I should say, and the handle. And then also, I'm gonna link how to line your bag on the last video and talk a little bit about that, because sometimes, if you're going to use this as a project bag, or you just might want to line it. I'm gonna post a video that I did, a really simple one. It makes it really super easy how to line your crochet bag. Okay, so if you want to get involved in our crochet along but you don't have time, don't worry about it. It'll always be there. The pattern will always be on Ravelry. It'll always be on my blog. You'll always find those videos on my YouTube channel. They'll always be there. And it's called the Ladies Tote / Shopping Bag. And I had another question. A lady wanted to make it for her son, and she said, is that okay? Absolutely. It's just called Ladies because that's how it was originally made, for ladies to go shopping with. But if a gentleman would like to have that, your son or your husband, absolutely. It's not just for the ladies, it's for anybody who likes a nice bag. And this is a great size bag. It'll fit like your iPad. It'll fit books, like maybe to go to the library. It'll fit your shopping. And it's a great size market bag if you're just going to pick up a few things. And if you make that center section longer, you can do more shopping. We have a great farmer's market here, and it usually starts the weekend of Mother's Day, or maybe it's the weekend before Mother's Day. I can't remember exactly, but Mother's Day is early this year. It's May 9th. It's just, maybe it's not early. It just seems early to me. And that's also a great Mother's Day gift. Fill it with goodies and fill it with yarn. And give it to someone who loves to use yarn, knit or crochet. And there's lots of other fun yarn crafts out there. I found one YouTube channel that's all about those looms, and I think I did some of that. I didn't really care for it because I like for it to move a little faster. But there's a lot you can do with those looms, and they really are quite fun. And I did a little bit with it with my granddaughter, and she was like, yeah, I don't like that. Because kids, they want things to move faster. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk to you before we talk about our other patterns is yarns. And y'all remember the Karen baby cakes, right? And the Karen baby cakes were 3.5 ounces. Let's see, 231 yarns. Lots of fun colors. I really like this one. It's grays and purples. But when I popped into Michael's the other day, they had big baby cakes. You don't have to buy two. You can just do this with one. This has 8.5 ounces, which is 560 yards. You could make a whole baby blanket out of this. And the other neat thing is they have them in solid colors too. Let me click this over to my top cam so you can see these up close. All right, let's move that out of the way. Here is the original baby cakes, and I've still got a couple of those, and they're great yarn. It's the same yarn, it's just in bigger amounts. Okay, so let me move this. Here is the bigger one. Look at those beautiful colors. Isn't that beautiful? And if you want to make some matching things, you can get, like this pink is the same pink that's in here. They have yellows and blues, and they have the I think it's the yellow and gray like this one, and the purple and gray like this one in the bigger cakes and solids to go with it, lavenders and grays. And think about all the wonderful things that you can make with it. You don't have to use this just for baby items because it's a medium 4. And so you could use it for whatever you want to. And so I wanted to show you these. They're super cool, super colors. But I also noticed this. Limited time only. And so I think this is just a limited time only item. These, of course, don't say that, but they're gone. These little ones are gone. And they're still really nice. I have noticed you can still order those on the website. So if you go to the Yarnspirations website, or you go to the Red Heart website, it'll direct you over to the Yarnspirations website, and you can still order those small baby cakes if you want them. It's great yarn. I love these. They're soft, and they're a real true medium 4 yarn. You know, we've talked in the past about how some yarns, they say they're a medium 4 or a medium 5 or a chunky 5 or a bulky 6, but they're really not exactly, you know, like true to size. These are, and I think that's why I like them so much. And I've used these small baby cakes for lots of different things. And so, like I said, these have 3.5, and these have 8.5. These big ones have 8.5. So you could do a whole baby blanket, get one of each, and you've got enough yarn to make a whole layette for a baby. You know, baby pants, baby sweater, blanket, little baby dress, bloomers, booties, bibs. There's plenty of yarn there to make a whole layette with just 2 of those big cakes. And it's fun to get one that's like in the stripes and a solid that corresponds. And they have a lot of colors, just lots of colors. And those are at Michael's. I'm sure you can find them at Joann's as well. But those are at Michael's. And I'm really blessed because where I live, let me get some coffee real quick. I've had issues getting the hiccups a lot lately, so I'm trying, when I feel a little tickle, I'm trying to avoid the hiccups. Anywho, forgot what I was saying. Oh, you can find these at Joann's. And you can also find them at Michael's. Like I said, I'm really blessed. Within a couple of miles of my house, I have a Michael's. I have a Walmart, which their yarn section's a little iffy. I have Hobby Lobby, and then a little farther on, I have Joann's. So I have lots of yarn places that I can go to for lots of yarn. I saw a rumor the other day that Ace Hardware was carrying yarn. And we're getting a new great big Ace Hardware in our town here in Parker. And so everyone said, I've never seen it there. I've never seen it there. I'm going to go look. Nope, mine doesn't have it. And so I don't know what that was all about. But when Ace opens up, I'm going to go check it out. We used to have the best little local yarn shop in our town when I first moved here, and I was going to go over and do a blog about it. And then when I went to talk to her, she was kind of, I don't know what the word for it was. She wasn't rude. She just wasn't interested. And I thought, well, I'm really sad about that, you know, and I bought a few things and I left. And then a couple weeks later, I know why she was sad, because she was closing her store. And that's where I got these nice shelves behind me. I bought them from her. They're great. It's wood shelves her husband built, and they've got these plastic dividers that slide in and out so you can make them wider or shorter. Anyway, a lot of local yarn stores are gone, and that does make me just a little bit sad. But I am really blessed to have a lot of yarn places I can go to. Plus, I do enjoy ordering yarn online, too. That's fun also. Watch the sales, and you can get some really good deals. I like to watch for when they have the free shipping, because then because shipping is so expensive. You know, you'll pay $25 for yarn and an additional 15 for shipping. And that's hard. So if you can do it when they have the free shipping or one-time shipping price or whatever, that's a good idea too. Okay, so let's see. Oh, what's new this week at Posh Pooch Designs? Now you'll see this little cape behind me. I'm going to go over to this camera. This is our whimsical cape shawl, and it's made with a chunky number 5 yarn, and it's designed in 6 sizes. It goes from an extra small to small, medium, large, extra large, 2X, and 5. That's 7 sizes, and 2X and 3X sizes. And it's super easy to make. This yarn is absolutely gorgeous. And even though it's called Toy Box yarn from Premier, and even though it's a heavy yarn, it's a really light yarn, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I thought it would be a really great Mother's Day gift. But for anybody that, you know, like even a top like this, it would look nice with a shawl over it, you know, in colors that match. Especially if you just want to run out, you want to just pop on something pretty. You know, date night, put your shawl on, your cape shawl. And I used wooden buttons, and so I love wooden buttons, and I put them on everything if I can. Oh, so funny. A couple of years ago, I was looking for wooden buttons, and I found this huge bag, and they were all different sizes. And when I got them home, I realized that the button holes didn't go all the way through. So I was like taking my little drill bit going, making all those button holes go through. And I stained them all different colors, and I have bunches of them, and I just love them. They're lots of fun. But yeah, wooden buttons, just, I don't know, just add something fun. Although I love lots of fun buttons also. But that's our whimsical cape shawl. Super easy to make, and it makes a great gift. The other thing we did this week was our Earth Day bag. And it's not a very big bag because it's intended for just to use as maybe a lunch bag or a purse. And I wanted it to kind of look abstract. I used the white at the top and bottom to represent the North and South poles. And then I just used blue and green to represent the oceans and the earth. And I wanted it to be a little bit abstract. And then I made these little pom-poms, and I did the same thing with them. I used the white and at the top and bottom, and the blue and green for the pom-poms. And on the blog, I show you how, or not the blog, the video, I show you how to make the pom-poms as well as the bag. And it's just a fun little bag. You could use it for lunch. You could use it for a project. But when you pull these, they kind of goes round. So it kind of represents the earth. And we need to remember to take care of our earth. You know, one of the things I've always said is we only have one earth. And if we all do a little bit, then a lot gets done. One person maybe can't do it by themselves, but if we join in together, you know, recycle and all of those things that we all know how to do, then those things get done. One, you know, baby steps at a time. Before we know it, they're great big steps. Okay? So, anywho, that's everything today. I'm so excited Facebook didn't cut me off today. I don't know what that was all about. It was so funny because it was flickering back and forth from several different screens and everything on Facebook. And I know Facebook is constantly changing things and making things better. I wish they'd just leave things alone for just a little while. Let us get used to those things. But anyway, that's what we have for this week. Now, I know next week I have another Mother's Day pattern and a couple other things. And of course, when I do a Mother's Day pattern, it's not just for Mother's Day, it's for any old time. And so that's everything I've got for today. And I hope that you all enjoyed it. You had some fun, learned a little bit. And don't forget to head over to the Happy Crafty Homemaker YouTube channel with Carrie Penny. All right. I think you'll really like her. I just, you know, sometimes you watch videos and you're like, you know, and I saw hers and I was watching it, listening to her, and I just really liked her. And like I say over and over, I look for ones that just seem real and really love what they're doing like we do. All right. So I'm going to let you go. And I'll see you next week. But don't forget, I can't do any of this without all of you. So thank you. Bye bye now.